Welcome, guys, to another episode of ARWP, the All Real Wrestling Podcast. Today, we have a special guest, WARKIng, and we're going to learn more about him and the independent scene very, very soon. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
We're chilling, man. We're ready. We're ready to hear your story. We're ready to hear how you started to be a wrestler, and we're ready to hear what's coming up for you in the future. Are you ready?
Oh, yes, man. I'm all excited, man. I'm just happy to be here.
All right, awesome. Like I said, my awesome co-host Jason Smith wrote out these amazing questions. Sadly, he isn't here with us today, but he is proud of these questions, so we're ready to tell them. All right. All right, so question number one. Let's start off with the easiest one. When did you start wrestling? What was your first match? And what was the idea of even becoming a wrestler for you?
All right, man. So I started training in December of 2015. I was trained in. I was actually trained in a bar. in a bar with people there. Yeah, in a bar, man. Like there was a ring, and then like luckily there wasn't nobody in the bar that night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so luckily there was nobody there. But the story behind me becoming a wrestler, man, I've been a fan of this like my whole life, like since I was like 5. Like people actually look at me weird when I say this, but you know how some people, when they say, they watch Ric Flair on TV and they watch this guy or they was a fan of Shawn Michaels. The guy who got me hooked on pro wrestling, believe it or not, was Ken Shamrock.
Ken Shamrock, okay, I love that. I love that because he's on my favorite company right now. He's wrestling for Impact Wrestling, so I love that. Ken Shamrock.
Man, like I was just, I was living in Fort Benning, Georgia, and because I'm a military brat. And then, me and my dad was just flipping through the channels. By the way, I did grow up during the Monday Night Wars era, so
all right.
I grew up during that era. So we was flipping back and forth, and I'm 5 years old. I'm just sitting there, and I see Ken Shamrock, and I think he was fighting like Vince or somebody like that. God bless the dead. And it was after the match, and he just snapped. Like he was just suplexing all the referees, and he just held his ankle for so long, and I was just like, this guy is crazy, but I like him. So I wanted to see him every single week. But, I've been a fan of it since I was like 5 years old, pretty much my whole life. And I was still living with my parents at the time. And my dad, this was right when the network had just came out. Mm-hmm. And, so I kind of subscribed to that, and I was watching it all the time. And was on the way to work, and my dad was telling me, he was like, I think you really want to be a pro wrestler. I was like, what makes you think that? He was like, well, because he was like, well, I mean, you got the games, you had all the action figures growing up. Mm-hmm. You constantly watch it. Us, we just watch it on Mondays, but you're like always watching it. I think that's something that you want to do. And, I think you should go for it. Like if you make it, hey, kudos to you. If you don't make it, at least you tried, So I was like, and I was just sitting in my mind. I was like, well, maybe I should go for it. So I was like, well, I need to put on a little more size, because all the little guys are huge. I was like 140 pounds at the time. So
hey, man, nothing wrong with that.
I just went for it. And then as far as my first match goes, so like I trained in December. I had my first match like I want to say early March. I forget the date. So
it's fine. I'm not gonna bite your head off for that.
so please forgive me. I forget the date, but I do know it was like sometime in March of 2016. And I was working security at the time because that's what we had to do when we broke into the business. We had to work security for the events. So I guess my trainer, the promoter, he was short on guys, and I guess he thought I was further along in my training that I could just have a match. So I'm driving, so I get off work, and I'm driving straight to the venue, and he like texts me. He's like, hey, just to let you know, we're short on guys, and you're going to have your first match tonight. My heart is pounding because I still don't know what I'm doing. I didn't have any gear or anything, so I'm just sitting there nervous. I'm shaking while I'm driving. I'm hoping I don't wreck on the way there. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you're working me, and I'm going to go over on you. And I was like, all right, fine. So we get out there, and, at the time, my name was Lance B. Washington because I couldn't come up with a name on the spot like that. It was like,
everyone's got that. Everyone's got that first name. It's not just you.
So he just gave me a generic name, and he tried to rib me and say I was from the UK, but I told him I was from Florida. I was just this arrogant heel. I didn't know what I was doing, and And actually, the match was okay. Like I said, it was my first match, so it was okay, and I actually went over on him.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked because, I hit him with a simple clothesline, and I go for the pin, and the ref goes 1, 2, and then I guess he counts to 3, and then we're looking at each other like, was that supposed to happen? And my trainer, he's sitting on the ground, he's laying there, he's like, yeah. So next thing you know, he was like, well, here's your win. I was like, yeah, I told y'all.
My man was mad confused. My man was like, yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we was like, because if when you're in the business, and I know a lot of wrestlers can attest to this. They have meetings, and they let us know the matches and the minutes and who's supposed to go over.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a meeting, and my trainer was the whole time saying he was going to go over, so I was expecting him to go over.
Awesome,
But
hey, man, that worked out for you.
He takes the minutes on the fly, man.
It worked out for you at the end.
Yeah, yeah, man.
All right, so tell us the transition. Tell us about how Working was created. There's so much into that character that I'm in love with. I love, they got the Buddy Murphy shorts. Do you watch WWE and all that right now?
Yeah,
you got those Buddy Murphy shirts. You got the face paint. You got the whole military base look. I like that. Tell me more about it, because I've never seen a created character like that. That's something that you'd see on 2K. So tell me how that was created. How the idea.
Actually, man, I've been wanting to do a character like that since I first broke into the business, because like I said, I grew up in the military. My dad's, he did 26 years in the United States Army, and I did all 4 years of a junior ROTC, Army junior ROTC in high school. Then I did a little bit in college. So I kind of have a military background, but not really a real military background. So I kind of know what goes on. And, I'm wrestling for Diamond Championship Wrestling right now, and but last year, it was around Memorial Day weekend, and I had this lady make me some camo pants, the black tights with the camo on the side with the LB on it, and I was like, So then I had my dad's Army jacket with our last name on it, and I just wore that, and then I went to the Army surplus store, and I just bought the little war paint that they had, and I just threw that on first.
Mm-hmm.
Then I just had my dad's dog tags and stuff like that. And I was really the War King. He was going to be kind of like how Finn Balor has the demon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that War King was going to be like that towards me, But then, everybody liked the gimmick so much.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But he was like, man, you should really, you should really run with that, man, because you do the salute. You should really run with that.
Yeah.
So then I just started looking throughout the indies, and I'm like, well, everybody got masks and stuff like that, but nobody's really painting their face. So I was like, yeah, I like the face paint. I've always been a fan of face paint, since Ultimate Warrior and Road Warrior Hawk and Sting and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do the face paint and stuff. And as far as the shorts came about, I actually had some camo shorts, and I had my mother-in-law cut them up for me like Buddy Murphy until I got my gear maker to make some shorts like that for me.
All right.
I always dug that look because I was like, ain't too many people on the indies doing that too.
There isn't.
It's like, so, well, I seen one other guy doing it, but he doesn't have the actual camo. So I try to use majority of his style, but then try to add my stuff to it.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it, and I think you're 100% right about it. It's the point where if Finn Balor didn't do Demon, no one would complain at him. Everyone right now who's watching Finn Balor in NXT, they're like, why didn't we get Demon? Where's the Demon? There's so much complaints right now. It's a good thing that you didn't follow that, because that's where a lot of criticism comes. That's when they don't really want you and they want someone else. That's what really hurts the self-esteem. So it's a good thing that you kept yourself as Working.
Yeah, man. I love it, man. I actually been struggling with a name.
I don't know how you did. That's an awesome name. That must have came up on the spot right there.
It kind of did, man. I had a buddy, and I asked him online. He's a former wrestler himself, and he's got more years on me. And we talk on Facebook all the time. And I sent the picture of me and my camo, and I was like, man, I need a name. I kind of want to have a military-based name or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came up with War Dog. I was going to go with Black Hawk, but I was like, no, that's too close to Road Warrior. So he was like, let's try War Dog. So I tried to do War Dog. I didn't really get it established because right when I was going to do it, another guy on the roster changed his whole look, and he started wearing the baggy shorts, and he started calling himself Moon Dog. And I was like, great. Now I got to come up with a name. And I was like, well, I'm already kind of, going as King LB, and then I got the military, you think war with the war paint. So I was like, let's just do WARKING and see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. Here we are, man.
Hey, man, it all came to be. It all came into one place.
Yeah.
All right. Tell me, like you said, you're a fan of wrestling, and you made that really clear. Going to your Instagram, going to a lot of your matches, we see, you take a lot of Undertaker moves. You took the running around the ropes move from Taker. We see the Eddie Guerrero gear. I remember I commented when I saw that post. I was like, that's some sick gear. Tell me how all that came to be, because that's all, you look at that as a fan. As a fan, you look at all that. Tell me how that all came to be.
As far as the Eddie Guerrero tights go, originally, man, I was actually trying to do something like when I was going as King LB as my regular generic self. I was trying to get something where the Harlem Heat Booker T tights along with the split Eddie Guerrero tights, and then the guy who does my gear, he's out in Mexico, and then he was like, yeah, I could do something, and he showed me the design, and I was like, yeah, I like that because it had a little bit of the red in there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, we'll do that. And that actually got over those tights because not too many people in the Indies are doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And then as far as me doing old school, I just started doing that. I was like, well, let's, because I honestly, man, I can't springboard. So, like, I can't springboard.
No, you don't have to.
And I can't springboard. So I was like, so... Yeah, and it also goes back to my trainer. When I first started training, and I asked him, he asked me, what did I want to learn? And I was like, he was like, man, I wish I was, agile like the Undertaker, man. I would love to learn how to do old school because, like, he was my favorite wrestler of all time. Mm-hmm. And my trainer goes, I bet you $20 you can do old school. Me not knowing how this stuff works, I was like, I didn't bet him, but I was like, I mean, I'm not going to bet you, but if you could show me how to do old school, I would do it. So then I grabbed his arm, and then I walked to the ropes, and then I did it. I was like, oh, I really did old school.
I'm the Undertaker now.
Right. He was like, yeah, just remember, man, pro wrestling is a dance. It always takes two people to tango. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So then I started doing it recently, and it got over because everybody expect me to do it sometimes. Mm-hmm. Even my sister's younger brother, who's in the Marine Corps, he came to one of my matches one night, and he asked her, he was like, hey, is LB going to hit old school tonight? Don't know, we got to see.
That's
and then
awesome.
I did it, I did it because the crowd was so hot, and I was like, yep, we're going up.
That's awesome. I got to ask, not trying to break kayfabe, but when you do something like that, the other person is holding you up, right? That's what it is, right? It's more, when you do that move, it's like you're balancing, but you really have to focus on the other person who's basically holding you. That's awesome. That's
it's balance. It's all about balance, man. And like I said, like my trainer told me, it always take two to tango, man.
Who's your trainer?
Who's my trainer? My trainer, his name is Chris Black. He's based out of Kill, Mississippi, or Bay St. Louis area. He runs a promotion called Southern Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of not on the best of terms right now because how I left his promotion, which I feel like I didn't leave in a bad way. I left that promotion because I felt like I wasn't learning anything as far as like the business goes. I wasn't learning how to get bookings. I wasn't learning how to be a character. I wasn't learning how to cut promos. Anything to make it out to succeed in this business. He wasn't teaching me. The only thing he was really teaching me was the fundamentals, which would get me only so far, but not far enough. Because a lot of people teach fundamentals, you know what I mean? So I left that promotion, and I went to a promotion in Louisiana, in the New Orleans area called Elevate Pro. Mm-hmm. They actually taught me how to get bookings and how to be a gimmick and how to cut promos and stuff like that. And then I left that promotion, and I'm currently with Diamond Championship Wrestling. I've been getting other bookings elsewhere as well, but I've been with Diamond Championship Wrestling for about a good 2 years now.
Yeah, but see, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, in the independent scene, that's what it is. That's what it, like, I follow the independent scene more than wrestling-based companies. I notice the independent scene very clearly, and that's how it is. You can't stay in one school or company. You'll never be named or known like that. The more you travel, the more bookings you get. That's the way you get booked to these big companies. That's the way big people see you. So I don't know. I think you did the right thing. I think that you should always be jumping around. I gotta ask. Speaking of schools, FSW. Have you ever seen FSW's work?
FSW.
Future Stars of Wrestling.
It sounds familiar, man, but I'm not really too keen or not really heard of like some of these promotions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a school in Vegas where literally I feel like it's probably the hottest spot right now in the independent scene for wrestling. It's
Who runs that?
I don't know who runs it, but I can tell you who's a part of it. Chris Bay was a part of it for a while. You got
Okay.
Killer Cross was a part of it for a very long time.
Okay, so what's his name? I think his name like Sin Body or something
Simbodi,
like that.
Simbodi, yeah.
Sin Body,
Yeah.
Sin Body. I think that's his school. Yeah. Okay, I'm familiar. I just never knew the name, but I knew there was a big school out in Vegas.
Yeah, that's the one. I feel like as an interviewer who's heard so many stories, that's really the place where I feel like people do make it. Like soon that place won't even be a school; it'll be its own company one day. Like it's crazy how many people are just getting known from that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that and Booker T school, Reality of Wrestling.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Have you considered any of those like for future?
As far as getting bookings there, I have, but I'm kind of like slowly but surely starting to promote myself and reach out and stuff like that, you know, because I haven't really been traveling that much. I want to get used to the traveling 1st and then try to, because it's a lot of guys that's trying to get out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They probably, and some of these promotions probably won't even like my gimmick because, you know, they may have somebody already wearing a camo or something like that, you know what I mean?
I have not seen anybody hit that gimmick. So I'm telling you right now, like, I've never seen anybody hit that gimmick right now. I've been like watching, and I don't think I've seen anyone hit that gimmick. So you should not worry about that one.
Okay. Yeah, you know, once everything gets up and running, because I did have a promoter randomly hit me up the other day and told me to just give him my information, and then once everything is all over with, when this pandemic is over with, he may hit me up. So I'm hoping that.
Hey man, that's great. That's awesome. So you know, you talked about your dad called you up one day and was like, "Yo, you want to be a wrestler? Just go do it." What else inspired you the most? Because obviously your dad basically got you to this vision, to this point. Is there anything else that inspired you the most to become a wrestler?
I think that would be it, man. I mean, it was always in the back of my mind, but it was never something that I always wanted to do with my life. Because when, you know, like my life, I want to be like my dad so much to where I was going to join the military myself. And then when I did college ROTC, I figured out that the military life wasn't for me. So I salute everyone who's who serves for our armed forces, but you know, that just wasn't for me.
It's great though that your dad, you know, saw that, because a lot of parents are not supportive, and it's great that you had a supportive dad who's like, I don't want to follow your lead, and it's like, you shouldn't, you should be a wrestler. And it's like, you know, in my opinion, it's the craziest thing. A lot of parents like just being like, go be a wrestler, that's like a 50-50 shot. You know, you're giving up a lot to do that. That takes everything, you know, all your time, all your energy. So speaking of, you know, time and energy, you know, you started wrestling, you said 2015, that's when you started training. You know, you started being more in the business around 2016. What you know, were the biggest challenges throughout that to now? What biggest accomplishments? We know you held tag team gold. So just tell us, like, what was the highest of your point and what was the lowest of your point?
Oh, man.
I told you it's going to be hard.
It ain't too hard, man, because I'm just reflecting back on my career because I've only been doing this for a short amount of time. I guess we can talk about my time at SCW, man, at Southern Championship Wrestling, because that was kind of like a high and then it was a low because, you know, I wrestled like every weekend. So that took away my weekends. You know, I wrestled like every weekend and I won every single title they had there. You know, I was their heavyweight champion, but I wasn't in the main event. I wasn't closing out the show or anything, which I didn't deserve to close out the show because I didn't know what I was doing. So I guess, you know, me winning their top title would be kind of my highest. No, I take that back. Actually, my highest point in wrestling is actually going to Elevate Pro and actually meeting some high-profile names like Matt Cross. I did his seminar.
You did Matt Cross' seminar? Really?
Yeah, I did his seminar. It was something else, man.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a real chill guy. I did Chris Silvio's seminar, if you're familiar with him. He's
Chris Sabian?
Chris Silvio.
Okay.
Yeah, he's kind of traveled a little bit. You know, he's been around for like almost 20 years. He was trained by Rip Rogers, who's a very infamous trainer out of OVW. Mm-hmm. So he comes from that area. He's from Florida, but he comes from out of that area and stuff like that. Did his seminar. I did John Cruz's seminar. And Brutal Bob Evans from Ring of Honor. Mm-hmm. I did that Tough Guy seminar. That's when I actually learned a lot. Yeah, I actually learned a lot from him because, out of all the students at Elevate Pro, he wanted to have a practice match with me. I don't know why.
He saw something in you.
He must have. He was like, okay, because it was a 2-day event. And he was like, all right, big guy, since you didn't get to do a practice match today, me and you'll go tomorrow. And I'm like, oh. I don't want to, but okay, all right. So we do all the drills and stuff, and then we do the match. And the main thing I learned from him, it's the biggest thing I learned from him, and I still use it to this day, is timing. Mm-hmm. Timing and being patient, because I was so fast so used to trying to hurry up and get to the next spot, instead of just working the match and letting it, register with the fans, So I kind of learned a little bit of psychology from him.
Yeah, I hear you.
That would be the highest point for me. The lowest point would be staying at SCW, learning about all the negative stuff about the business that you hear about. Guys doing drugs or getting drunk before the shows, guys not caring.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was the only guy that was actually in shape. Everybody else was, fat and sloppy and missing teeth and all of that stuff, and wrestling for free and wrestling in front of, 10 to 20 people, every single week. And it was just doing the same old thing, and it was just horrible.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Well, look, that's the part of the business. It's good to tell these stories because now you made it. When you leave that behind, that's when I'm going the right path. I'm going to a lighter path. All right, so
they would be there for 10 years.
And you're moving to bigger, better things.
Yeah, man.
So like you said, you don't do springboard, so that goes to styles. What would you say is your style of wrestling? Technician, aerial, strong, powerhouse. What would be your style of wrestling if you had to describe it?
I would say I'm more of a hybrid style.
Mm-hmm. Give more.
Because I can kind of do some power moves. I can kind of do some athletic moves, and I can do a little bit of technician stuff. You know what I mean? I just like to, just work a match and just feel for the crowd, because, you have some guys, and I've actually witnessed this at another show, man. These guys, it was a guy, they was in a triple threat match. They literally talked about every single thing they was going to do until it was time for them to go out there. And I was like, man, I couldn't do it because I would forget stuff. So they're trying to remember everything. I couldn't do it, man. I don't perform well when I'm working with a guy like that.
Yeah, because it's they want a specific way.
Yeah, I just the only thing, honestly, man, kayfabe's already broken, but me, I just like to play in the opening, the double down, and the finish. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't, anything else, I just like to feel for the crowd. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah, that is, because in the business, they don't rehearse every move. They only rehearse the finish and the start. That's literally all they do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so, talking about the future, let's hear, some of your dream matches. You're a wrestling fan. You talk about it. Give me 5 wrestlers that are, I'm going to say alive, and that don't have to necessarily be a part of one company. It could be a part of any company you'd like. Just 5 guys that you're like, put me in a ring with him, you're going to have an awesome main event.
Ooh. Yeah. that's the first. I would love to go against Finn Balor.
All right. Which one, Demon or regular?
Anyone.
Okay.
Anyone. I would love to go against Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega, all right.
Yeah, I would like to go against him. I would like to go against one of my wrestling idols, which would be Booker T. I know he's a lot bigger than me, but I would love to go against him. The battle of the scissor kick.
Yeah, man, that'd be pretty dope.
I'm about to say, who else I really like, man? Sammy Guevara. I would like to go against him.
Have you ever faced him or not yet?
Nah, man, he's he's based out in Texas and stuff, and then he's with AEW now, so I never really crossed paths with him.
Got you.
Yeah.
You got one more.
one more. Let me think. Cause I'm kind of trying to stay within my size.
Just do Ken Shamrock and let it all be over.
Yeah, we can do that too. me and Ken Shamrock. Yeah, we can do that. Oh, I'm gonna throw in another one, man. I'm gonna throw in another one for you, man. Tama Tonga from New
Tama
Japan.
Tonga. All right. I like
Yeah,
that. I really like that. He's one of the most
yeah.
overlooked guys outside of, the wrestling
Smart.
world.
He's one of my favorites, man. Other than him doing the face paint, I love his face paint and I love his style.
Mm-hmm.
I love the swagger he brings, and I was like, that's why I'm a fan of his. Like, he got sick gear. I love his braggadocious swagger style.
Yeah.
He's like a cool heel. I was like, yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah, I like him. I
Those
think
are
we'll do
awesome.
some good
Those are
picks.
some awesome picks. I look forward to seeing all those happen because I'm pretty sure they will. Pretty big talent. Booker T, we'll see about that. If he's still wrestling,
Yeah.
we'll see. But I can see him.
He's a little up there in the age, so I don't think that
He's in and out. He's in and out. If he wants to come out, hit a little, swing a Rooney, and then leave.
Yeah, hey, I'll take a squash match from him. It's a
It'd
big time Hall of Famer.
look a 2 minute knockout.
Oh yeah.
All right, another question that's similar to this is venues. Now you say you don't travel much. Let's say you could travel wherever you want. 5 places you'd like to travel, and it'd be cool if you give us the venues. If you can't, that's fine. But just places.
Japan, of course.
Japan Dome.
Yeah. Hey, anywhere in Japan.
Anywhere in Japan.
Yeah. I would love to go to what I call the Holy Grail of wrestling. Anywhere in North Carolina, especially Greensboro, because that's a legendary place. Madison Square Garden, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Got 2 more.
Am I saying anything to me? I would love to go out there in Vegas. I'm trying to really think of all the legendary buildings. So I guess we can go anywhere in California.
Pretty much. That's a lot of legendary buildings there. I mean, you basically said every area that's actually the most talked about, like Carolina, MSG, Vegas, and Japan. Those are the biggest places in my opinion. I mean Texas too, like San Antonio.
Yeah, Texas is a hotbed, man. Yeah. Over there, yeah, man. I wish they wouldn't have tore down the Sportatorium because I would love to perform there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to perform there, man. I think every wrestler would love to perform there at this old Sportatorium.
No, yeah, I hear you. All right, let's get to a different side of what we're talking about. Let's talk about you as a tag team partner, since you are a part of a tag team. How do you feel about that? Do you see your future as a singles wrestler, or do you feel like you'll move on to tag team wrestling?
I mean, I would prefer to go singles.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I would prefer to go singles. But, because tag team wrestling is kind of dead these days, I would love to be a success as a tag team.
That's how I feel about it. I love tag team. It's my favorite thing, and I hope there'll be more tag teams, in the future to keep it still moving.
Because everybody, I get it. Everybody wants to be a single star, like that. But sometimes you may find your niche in tag team wrestling,
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it just works out that way,
Yep.
I also wish, I know Chris Jericho brought this up not too long ago, but he said the art of being a manager is kind of dead, too, these days.
A lot of things are dead, It's basically big guys paying off for company. It's like what Tony Khan and Vince McMahon are doing right now, Just big guys with money are paying for a company, and then they're doing the way they want to do it. Same thing with Japan. It's all like that. It's not really managers. They don't hire a guy to be like, hey, you're in charge of running the company. I'm just going to keep taking the press. You know what I mean? The world has flipped and changed that way.
But one thing WWE will do, if they don't want you as a wrestler, they'll bring you in as a referee.
Yeah, which in my opinion is insulting. In my opinion, because I've spoken to a lot of independent stars who made it
I can agree with that.
to become a referee first and then became a wrestler. Going to become a referee when you're in a company like that is just a huge downgrade. It's like the most disrespectful thing. The fact that they do it is blowing my mind. So speaking of WWE, and this is basically every company. And this is probably gonna be the hardest question. This is the one that you have to really think about. Is there a company that you'd like to go to after your independent run? Like the first company you'd like to go to after your independent run?
Man, I would give you 3 companies.
All right, let me hear them.
I would love to go to the NWA.
And I love that. No one ever, thank you, because no one ever brings up NWA, and I think the talent there is amazing. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, man. Because being in the South and stuff like that, we kind of base our whole wrestling on the traditional style of wrestling. Like, there is no cool heels.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no cleaners. You're either a good guy or a bad guy. You're either baby face or a heel. We don't do all these 50,000 high spots and 45 finishers. We do one finisher, and you may kick out of most of the time you don't.
Mm-hmm.
We try to keep kayfabe, but with the times we're in, it's kind of hard, I guess. So yeah, NWA. Plus, I love NWA. I love it. You know what I mean? It just gives me that. I finally get to experience that old school vibe with the new school flavor. You know what I mean? Like, all the veterans talk about NWA and all that, and AWA and stuff like that, and they talk about all those guys and what wrestling used to be like. You know what I mean? So I was like, I just finally get to experience that. So I would love to go to NWA. I would love to go to MLW.
Bro, you're reading my mind. Like, you're literally giving me the ones that, like, I wish someone would say. NWA, MLW. These are literally the ones that no one heard about. Like, I'm interviewing wrestlers, and they're like, what's that? And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
You don't know?
Some of them don't pay attention, man.
All right, so I got to ask, before we get to even the third one, who, give me 3 guys you want to face in each company. MLW, NWA, because there's such amazing talent. It could be tag team, it could be singles, and it could even be the women there.
I must say, man, I kind of been slacking on these products, man, so I kind of forget these guys. So like, bear with me here.
I will. Just think.
Okay, NWA, I would love to go against Ricky Starks.
Mm-hmm.
Stroke Daddy. I would love to go against what's the guy named? The Z-Man with the fanny pack.
Yeah, I know. We got the tattoos and the blonde hair. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I forget his name, but I would love to go against him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to go against. I would love to go against Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis.
He's one of my favorites.
You're going after the king. Going after the biggest line in there. All right.
I would love to go after him. As far as MLW go, I would love to go against one of the Von Erichs. It don't matter which one.
Doesn't matter which one. All right.
Doesn't matter which one. I would love to go against one of them. I would love to go against Snoopy.
All right.
From the Injustice, him. And Jacob Fatu.
All right.
Yeah.
Why not Myron Reed? I'm curious. Why not the leader of the Injustice?
I mean, you throw him in there too.
Throw him in there too? All right.
Yeah. It's funny, man. I actually know a promoter out in Jacksonville, man. He owns a USWA out there in Jacksonville, Florida. And he was telling me the other day, he was like, man, I think you would fit in with that Injustice group.
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
I was like, if I do a different gimmick, yeah, but with the WARKING, like, no, it'd be so different. I'm like a loner, you know?
It wouldn't work. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know about that one. All right, so, you talked about the change when you decided you're going to take up wrestling. You're going to have to, build some muscle. You're going to have to do something. How often do you go to the gym? And how often do you train, since you're doing the wrestling now?
Man, when I first started lifting, which I didn't know what I was doing, I used to go every day for like 2 hours when I first started. But as I've gained some gym knowledge, I started going like maybe 4 to 5 days a week and taking 2 days off. And then that's what I've been normally doing was, going 5 days a week, 2 days off, going for about an hour 30. That's about the longest I go, about hour 30. Except for on leg day. Leg day takes me the longest, so it'd be 2 hours regardless.
All right.
Yeah, leg day takes the longest for me.
All right. Give me, a pre-match ritual. What do you do? And you don't even have to. If you don't have one, you don't have. Because I saw the way you looked at. That question.
It all depends, man. But normally, man, pre-match ritual, I'll get in there and I'll put my gear on and I'll put my little face paint on. First I would sit there with my gear on without the face paint, think of what design I'm going to use.
Ah, that's your pre-match ritual. There you go.
Yeah.
There you
I sit
go.
there, I would think of what design I'm gonna use. Then I'll apply the design. Then I'll pump up. I'll get my bands and do a little couple arm curls and do a couple push-ups, sit-ups, so I can look decent at least.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
body oil on. Depends on how I want to do my wrist tape. Do I want to take my hands too, or do I want to just do my wrist? Then I'll take some pre-workout and I'll just start getting all crazy and stuff like that, just to psych myself up. So when I go out there, I got to get hyped so the crowd can get behind me and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much it, man. And if I'm in a tag match, I'll try to get my partner hyped too. Like, let's go. You ready? You ready? Let's go. Yeah.
I hear you, man. I hear
It's
you.
crazy, man. Sometimes. Other times, I just put my face paint on. I still try to get hyped and just go out there and do my thing,
Of course. All right, so, you brought up the whole face paint. I want to know more about that. I want to know the reasoning about it. Why do you put on face paint? Was that just something that you always liked? Was it something you followed, as a wrestling fan? Is that something that you just always interest you?
It's been pretty much everything you just stated, man. I've always, like I said earlier, man, I've always been a fan of the face paint. Even when I was a kid, man, I used to always get my dad's little war paint, the little green container with like 4 different paints, and I was just throwing it on my face when I was a kid. So, I was always a fan of the face paint, man. And I just felt like, in Diamond Championship Wrestling, I was the only one, because I was going to do a mask, but then we had like 3 to 4 guys wearing a mask. So I was like, well, I can't do that. He's wearing a mask, he's wearing a mask, he's wearing a mask. I can't do that. I'm trying to stand out as much as I can. So I was like, I'm just going to do the face paint.
I hear you.
And I got a good look, and everybody was like, man, I love that face paint. I love that. I love that. Like one guy, he loves when I do the all black and then I do the 3 red stripes over my eye. He say he loves that face paint right there, that style.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of came up on the fly.
The best ideas always do.
Yeah, the ones that come on the fly. I had the other ones that you see on my page, man. I had my buddy draw me up some designs because I was running out of ideas. Because other than that, I was just going to start taking ideas from elsewhere. But I didn't want people to say, "Oh, you're Ultimate Warrior. Oh, you're Road Warrior. Oh, you're."
So yeah, some people would do that, and then some people would be like, "Oh, he's a fan," because like I said, your gimmick is different. So I actually would love to see that you take apart, some of those, because they're legends that shows live on. People. The reason why they're so popular is because they want people to keep talking about them. So I don't see any insult. If you ever do that, I'll be like, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. I always thought, I actually thought about doing a hawk one. I can't do the animal because I'm not that artistic.
Yeah.
That's cold, But I thought about doing hawks with the V and the little spiral deal, and then I thought about doing Tomatongas. When he does his with the white and the red.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. Shit.
Yeah.
Yo, do me a favor. Do me a favor. You're right next to the sun, and it's like really bright. You mind moving just a little? Yeah.
Let me sit over here.
No problem.
All right, it's good right here?
Yeah, it's fine here. It's nice. It's good. We got to see you. All right.
All right, perfect.
All right, so I asked you about your goal. I asked you about your path from 2016 to 2020. Now, after the pandemic is over, I'm curious to hear what your goals are. What are you aiming to go next? What can we see coming from you next?
Man, I plan on traveling a lot more this year and next year. I'm actually focusing on getting more bookings because I'm actually kind of tired of just wrestling locally.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I want to go everywhere. I got a buddy in Florida. He owns USWA. He wants me to come out there. I got a guy who's been begging me to come to Louisiana for the longest time. We just can never, get the dates, but we got a date. So I'm going to start going out there more often. And hopefully I can make my way to Texas because I know a couple friends out there too. So, it's all about networking. It's good to have friends on the indie scene that are different. You know what I mean? Then I met up with this guy. He goes by Stunt Marshall on the indies. I don't know if you ever heard of him. And he knows a couple promotions in Georgia because that's where he's based out of. And he may put in a word for me out there too. So you may see me all over the South at least.
That's great, man. That's great. All right. So the next question is, the one that that you brought up, traveling. How often do you travel? Well, where's the place you've traveled? What was like your longest travel? Where did you have to go?
Oh man, it's actually a tie between, because right now I'm in South Mississippi. I'm on the Gulf Coast. I'm in the city of Ocean Springs. So for me, since being down here, other than wrestling in Ocean Springs and in Pascagoula a couple times over, the longest would be when I went to Cecilia, Louisiana. It's over there around the Lafayette area. That's about like a good 3.5 hours. And then from there, going to Delville, Alabama. That's about the same distance. So, like, those two are, like, my absolute longest rides ever. Because 3 hours, even though it don't seem like it's long, it's long.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, like, it doesn't seem like it's that long, but it's long. So I'm like, great.
All right. So, let's talk about more about, tag team. You held tag team gold. That's already been done. What's next? What title championship are you looking at? Where? Because I know right now it's like also you don't know where you're gonna go yet. You got a lot of offers, you got a lot of places, but like I bet you examined a lot of the places that you're getting offers to. So it's like a little bit of a threat. Who's out there? What division? What title are you looking to grab? What's next?
And I'm hoping to make my name in this junior heavyweight division or cruiserweight division. Because I'm not a big guy. I'm a cruiserweight, so I would love to make my name in that. Mm-hmm. That's actually one of my goals when my career is said and done. I want to be, synonymous with one of the greatest, or as being one of the greatest, junior heavyweights to ever walk this planet. So that's my goal. That's what I'm working towards. So I mean, if Impact comes looking for me, they sign me, give me that X Division title.
All right. My man's got a whole list of guys that he's got to beat to get that X Division title. Right now, we got Willie Mack holding it. Can you go against Willie Mack?
Oh, I would love to, man. He's man, like that guy there next to Keith Lee, like them two are the most athletic big men I've ever seen, like ever. Like you got Keith Lee out here doing things that I'm supposed to be doing. Like you don't see a 400-pound man doing like backflips and somersaults and planches over the top rope. You don't see that.
Yeah.
And Hurricane Runners, it's like what?
All right, I gotta know, how did War and Beast form? Because we didn't get into that. We talked about tag team, but we never really got into the form. How did that happen?
Man, it was just randomly thrown together, man. My buddy, he's actually a real good friend of mine. I actually brought him into the wrestling business. He started like 3 weeks after me and everything, So he's going by the Beast, Jarrell the Beast Maxwell. That's his nickname, the Beast. And then since I'm going by WARKING, we was trying to come up with a name. I was going to come up with War Beast, but by the time I was going to tell them that submit the name, they already came up with War and Beast. So then that's how that came about. And it was like, well, I guess we'll just stick with that, War and Beast.
Got it.
And they got over. They cheered for us,
That's all that matters. All right, so I got to ask, because, as a wrestling fan, merch is the biggest thing. Merch is what sells the wrestler. What do we got? What's your plan? Where the merch? You got anything planned?
I sold a couple T-shirts, man, because my girl, she has a cricket machine, so she makes the shirts herself. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to get more T-shirts. I got wristbands, wristbands in this color right here. I got little trading cards.
Oh, you do? Swing those my way. Swing those my way. I collect them.
Yeah, I got little trading cards and everything, man. So, I got a little bit of merch going.
All right. Where can we get that merch? Is there like a website, or we just DM you?
Man, you can DM me, man, because right now, like, I got to get all that stuff set up, man.
I hear you.
I got to get all that stuff set up, man. And once we get that set up and get more shirts cranking in, I'm going to start, pushing that merch for real,
Have you tried to talk to Pro Wrestling Tees? Because I know a lot of wrestlers, a lot of independent people are doing that now. They're...
I seen something, because I know somebody tagged me in it, but, once I want to make some shirts first, like not a big batch, like a small batch, and see how they do. Mm-hmm. What I may end up doing is talking to somebody who actually prints like legit T-shirts, and then I'm gonna go talk to Pro Wrestling Tees.
Don't tell your girl about that. I'm gonna get that. It's gonna be an argument.
Keep that between me and you, man.
I'll keep it. All right. Too bad I'm gonna have to publish this. You know what's what's the largest crowd you've ever worked in? What's like the like all the eyes, most people? What's like the largest crowd?
400 people in the National Guard Armory in McGee, Mississippi. Man, one of my buddies.
Yeah.
He had. It was actually his inaugural show. It was his first show that he ever promoted. Like it's his brand new company. You know, his first show he promoted, and I was the first match.
Did you win? Tell me you won. Tell me you had to win.
Nah, I wasn't the War King then, so I didn't win. But I did put on a performance of a lifetime.
Can we watch that
Good.
match? Is there any way we can watch that match? Is it on YouTube? Is it on stream?
It should be on YouTube, man. It should be you should be able to type in LB Hughes versus Colt Storm.
All right.
It's in the National Guard Armory. It was hot in that building. Like it was really hot, so like I sweated a lot. I normally don't sweat with my matches, but that match right there, like, oh my god.
Oh my god. Well, no one can tell. No one can tell if it's body oil or it's sweat. That's the point. You know, only the wrestlers could tell. The fans, they can't even tell. All right, so we heard, the most amount of people. Let's put the least amount of people. What was like the least amount of people you've ever worked in?
Man, I want to say it was like between like 5 to 10 people.
Tell me it was a birthday. Was it a birthday party? Was it a birthday party?
No, this was SCW, my beginning promotion, man. He ran on a Sunday in a bar and stuff like that, and
There's only 10 people at a bar. Damn, man.
Yeah,
Must
like
have been
it
last
was
call.
crazy, man. The whole setup was crazy, man. So like it was in a bar. The ring was in the center, and then like the locker room and the dressing room area was like where the stage was. So it wasn't big, and like you had like maybe 9-10 people, and we all just fit up in that little smaller area getting ready and stuff. And
You're the only other. I only heard one other wrestler say they wrestled at a bar, and that was T.J. Perkins, TJP, back in when he first started wrestling. You're the only other person that I know that wrestled in the bar, which is really interesting.
Yeah, man, it's like that, man. Like you just got to get it in anywhere, man. Like I said, wrestled in the bar. I wrestled in a community center where the ceiling was like I couldn't get on the top rope.
Oh.
Yeah, man, I had to do my aerial stuff on the second rope.
I mean, the weirdest, the most outrageous story I've ever heard was some guys got booked for wrestling, and it was in a boxing ring. How do you, and you can't do anything. You can't do any top rope. You can't, jump off the ropes in a boxing ring. So I'm like,
how really take a bump for it because it's so stiff.
Yeah, I'm over here like, how's that even? Have you ever dealt that? Have you ever had to wrestle in a boxing ring?
Nope.
All right, good thing,
man,
good thing.
I was fortunate, man.
Oh my god. All right, now here's the question that I love to ask all the time, and I love to hear the craziest answers. The craziest one I heard so far was a weed festival. That's the craziest one I heard so far. What was the strangest place you've ever wrestled in? And I got some weird answers, man. I got a church. I got a school where I would hear someone just like a penguin. I got a lot of weird ones. So I'm hoping you got some weird. Come on, what was the strangest place you had to wrestle in?
Unfortunately for me, man, I never experienced that yet, man. I was hoping, I would love to do a beach show since we live by a beach. I would love to perform at a beach.
Back to the beach, right?
I would love to do something like that, man. Other than like these little community centers and stuff like that and bars and stuff. That's about it for me, man.
All right. But you guys know, if I ever asked you a story, if I ever said, hey, what was just one place that like literally you didn't know where to go, it was just such a weird venue or it was like the weirdest thing, what would you give me? Like, what would you say would be your like weirdest experience in wrestling?
The weirdest venue would probably be at a VFW in Alabama.
Why? I want to know why.
It was so weird, man, because like it was kind of like in the middle of nowhere. It was ducked off, it was like really ducked off. I didn't really have any signal out there. Yeah, didn't have any signal. Then like their bathrooms didn't have any mirrors.
Oh my god. So my man's doing face paint, but he doesn't even know.
While I'm sitting there after the match, I'm sitting there trying to take off my face paint, and I'm trying to see if I got it all off, and they don't have mirrors. I'm like, what type of stuff is this?
Oh my god, that's some crappy writing over there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm like, what is this, man? Then the locker room or the dressing area, it was like dark there, so there was like, it was really dark. Couldn't see. I had to use my flashlight on my phone.
All right. All right, so now we're going to go to more of the fan-based questions. So now this is where you can actually relax now and just go back to a better time. Tell me what company you love right now. Like, if you're watching wrestling, because I'm pretty sure right now, since, we can't really be doing anything outside and sitting in the crowd, we got to go and we got to examine things, got to get some ideas flowing. I know you've been watching a lot of wrestling. What is one company that you think is, like, doing amazing with their work, and why?
Man, I'm just going to go ahead and give you AEW.
AEW, all right.
They're doing it differently because I say this because, like, when I watch, WWE, they don't have nobody in attendance.
Yeah.
At least in AEW, they have, like, a couple of their wrestlers in the attendance.
Yeah.
That's really different right there. I like the fact that WWE is they're forced to do or be more creative now.
Yeah, I hear you.
I just had this big deal where, like, I was telling my buddy, I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch WrestleMania, man. It just doesn't feel like that. Like, I was even talking with Ezekiel Jackson. You remember him?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I saw Ezekiel Jackson at and it was the weirdest place, too. It was a House of Glory show. He was just walking around. Like, he wasn't signed. He was just watching the show. And while the whole show was going on, people are, like, staring at him. And I'm over here, like, my man came to a wrestling show not to be noticed, apparently.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, man. I talk to him. I try to talk to him as much as I can on Facebook. Try to get ask him questions because obviously he's been there.
Yeah.
So he made a deal. He made a post, and I told him I was like, man, I don't know if I can watch WrestleMania, man. He just asked me why. I was like, man, because when you think of WrestleMania, it's supposed to be this big attraction, and you think of all the 70,000 fans, that's supposed to be in attendance, and me just watching this at the PC, no disrespect, just at the PC with no fans, it's kind of like, So then I opened my mind up and I actually watched it, man, and it surprised me. I was like, okay.
They broke a lot of rules, though, by doing that show. There was at least 30 guys in the AJ and Taker match. There was about 30 guys just filming the prop. They did a lot, but they lost a lot of money. I don't know if it was the right move, honestly. I don't know if it was the right move. I would have just postponed it.
They told us how many people watched it. They said it was like 20 million people.
Yeah, but they lied. They wouldn't be honest with it. You can't really trust them. They just say things to make it sound like they're.
But I'm like, okay, just imagine if you had at least 100,000 people there.
I'm just telling you, if you look at it closely, they say they had all that views, but then literally 2 weeks afterwards, they released the most amount of people they've ever done before. You know what I mean? That should definitely say a lot, about the company.
They really don't. They really don't do all this stuff, man. I know that's work.
Yeah. All right. So now another fan base question: what is your favorite pay-per-view match? What is that one match where you can actually tear up because of how beautiful it was?
I'm going to go with my favorite match of all time, which would be Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 25.
All right. And I can't even ask you why, because we know why. We all know why.
Everybody, honestly, everybody says 26 was better. But I was like, nah, it was cool, but 25 just had me.
Yeah.
It just had me.
That's the original. You can't stop the original. That's what it is.
That first match in a while, actually. But yeah, that one just had me hooked. Cause I was like, oh wow. I mean, I also did like the WrestleMania match between Undertaker and Batista, because that was kind of like the first where I remember somebody kicking out of the tombstone since Kane. So I was like, oh. And I was like getting so mad because like my dad was watching it with me, and I was like, man, Batista's gonna win. I like Batista, but I don't want him to win and stuff like that. My dad was like, relax, Taker's going to win because Taker's going to retire. Like, that was my dad. My dad was telling me, like, Taker's going to retire. So they're going to let him win, and he going to retire. And I was like, well, I don't know if he's going to retire, and look at us now.
How do you feel about that whole thing with Taker? Like, let's be honest. He was undefeated in Mania. Then you had this thing with, like, Brock, then you had this thing with Roman, then you had this thing with AJ, and it's like, are you done with Taker? Like, as a fan, are you, like, done with Taker because they're just not ending the
As a
fans?
performer, yes, I am. Because you know, when you used to watching somebody when you're a kid and you're a teenager and stuff, you see how they perform, and then when you're a grown man and then you see them come back when they're like damn near 60 and they can't do half the stuff they do, and it's like, no, it's like, man, just let it go, man. Like, I appreciate what you did, but you know, I don't want to say like, hey, remember, like, man, you should have saw him in his prime, boy. You know what I mean? So like, I actually thought he was going to retire when Roman beat him. You know, the way he, he put his gear in the ring and stuff like that, and he raised the fist and then he just descended down. You know, I was like, well, that's one way to go out.
Yeah.
You know? But then, next thing you know, he comes right back, and I'm like, oh my God, Vince, leave this man alone. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, I feel the same way you do, but it's like, even with Roman, I feel like it should have been someone else. You know, Cena, AJ. You know, Roman was being hated. Like, I didn't hate Roman at the time, but Roman was being hated at the time. Like, that was like the last person to put out.
I think that would have been the perfect time to turn him heel.
All right, I gotta ask some more fan base questions. What is one wrestler that's being overlooked at all? Like, completely being overlooked?
Man, that's a tough one, man. I have to, go through the roster and just, watch, man. I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head, man. I mean, yeah, I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head. I mean, I would say, I mean, Velveteen Dream, he really ain't overlooked, but I think it's time for him to, at least get a NXT title run or something like that, Who do you think?
Dolph Ziggler. For me, it's Dolph Ziggler, and it's like, yeah, I'll tell you why. We've seen multiple times this guy can hit 5-star matches. His match with The Miz on No Mercy. Did you remember watching that? Where it's like
from which year? Was it this past year?
No. It was way back. It was a part where it was like Miz was Intercontinental Champion. Dolph put up his career for that.
Oh yeah.
He did the whole Eddie Guerrero thing by fighting with one shoe. His shoe like fell off. Like, it was, it's the point where it's like, I get money and I don't really know the wrestling business at all. I don't know how much your soul is worth in wrestling, but it's the point where it's like Dolph Ziggler was one of the most talented wrestlers, and I think to this day he's still talented. But the way they'll never give him a heavyweight title. They'll never do it, especially with what's happening now with Drew McIntyre. What's happening now with all these guys.
It just came to my mind.
All right, let's hear it.
Now that you was talking about all that, it came to my mind. Cesaro.
Okay, yeah. Everyone always talks about Cesaro. Everyone.
Rusev. He was another one.
Rusev's out. Rusev got out completely.
Yeah, I know he got released, but he could have had a run with the WWE title. Not a long run, but he could have had, a 4-month or a 5-month, 6-month reign. Like, the dude got over. Like, the best time to put that title on him was during the Rusev Day thing. Like, he was so over.
I guess they didn't see that. I guess they just didn't notice that, which was terrible on their end,
Man, they do that with a lot of people. Like Vince McMahon was in the interview with Stone Cold saying that, Cesaro doesn't connect with the audience. But I'm like, this dude is over. Like, fans, like, they go crazy with him. I mean, I guess, he can't cut really good promos. I guess that's one reason, but don't sit here and say the man don't connect with the audience. He has his whole Cesaro section.
Yeah.
Like,
look, there's so many issues when it comes to that. All right.
Bobby Roode, another one.
There's so many. Look, there's just so many. Like, we could be playing this. We could be naming. All right, next question. What is one wrestler that is doing amazing work? What is one wrestler that you're like, this guy will be a legend by next year?
I don't know about next year, but if he keeps going, man, I might say, man, right now, I'm giving that to Keith Lee in NXT, man.
Keith Lee, all right.
Yeah,
he's already champion. He already did that. He's already holding the title.
He's on fire, man. Like, ever since he been in NXT, that man's been on fire. Like, he even got a reaction out of Brock, and Brock put him over. He was like, holy moly, this is a big dude. Like, who is this? Who is this guy? He's a big boy. You saw the Rumble?
Of course.
Yeah, that was a pretty good Rumble.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
I'm finally glad. Hold on, before we go on, I just
No
want to
problem.
make the statement. I'm finally glad they gave Drew McIntyre an opportunity.
bro. If they put the music broken, like if they put the Broken Dreams music, I would have been even. I would
That's
have
what
been.
everybody. That's what everybody was saying, man. You know, I was like, yeah, nigga, they need to go back to his old theme.
Bro, he would have been. He would have been in some level. And again, Dolph Ziggler got him there. I'm just pointing it out. Dolph Ziggler got him to where he is now. Being the home manager, bringing him to Raw. Doing all that. Ziggler's just doing too much at that point. All right, we're down to the final 2 questions. So these are the ones where I need you to really think about it. Where do you want to end your career at? You're talking about AEW. You're talking about WWE. What is... And it doesn't have to be... It could be New Japan, too. I could see WARKING headlining the Japan Dome. Where do you see yourself ending your career?
Man, I ain't really thought that far ahead, man. But I mean, obviously, I would love to. I would say WWE, man, but they'll probably have me do some kind of weird stuff.
At least you know. At least you know. A lot of wrestlers don't get that yet.
So I'm hoping by the time I get to AEW, hopefully it's a bigger deal, and I would love to end my career there.
All right. And, the final question, this is the one that I've been waiting for the whole time. What do you got coming up? Any merch? Any tribute? What's the next wrestler you're going to... Because I love the whole fan thing. I think it's awesome. I hope you follow more of, copying, fan gear and doing that. Because that's what gets the crowd actually loving. That, like, let's say you're a face. That's the only way crowds will love you. By you bringing out fan gear, boom. Immediately the crowd's going to be like, oh, I like him. I like him a lot. Yeah. So what do we got? What's the plan?
As far as some gear is concerned, man, since this pandemic's been going on, I was in the middle of getting some gear like the Ascension. Mm-hmm. With the little...
little padding and that little...
Yeah, with the little flap thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the idea, I guess, was going to be like black with some camo. And I think the hats was going to be camo as well. So I got that coming up. But, with this pandemic, it kind of got it on pause.
Are you going to do the Ascension face paint too? Like with the design-wise, like one side of the face or like the mouth?
I don't know, man. I mean, I ain't really thought that far. I may spice it up. I may take a little bit and spice it up, and or have my buddy draw me up another design specifically for that. Yeah, other than that, man, I'm just looking forward once this stuff, once the country get to where they can control it and everybody, go back to normal. I just focusing on getting myself out there more. Trying to get more bookings now,
All right. Well, this is awesome. Tell people where they can find you. Where can fans, message you, watch your stuff. What are your socials?
I say fans, you can find me on Facebook at L.B.Hughes, LB Hughes on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at WARKING _9deuce or something like that. I forget my own Instagram.
I can check. Let me.
That's a shame.
I don't want to say it's _king 9deuce. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I might say so _king 9deuce. You got to spell the deuce out. The 9, the number 9, and then the word deuce.
It'll be in our bio. It'll be in our bio at the end.
Yeah. Then I just got Twitch so I can start streaming my video games because I do play.
All right, what kind of games you play? We're changing what kind of games you play?
Man, I play WWE 2K20, which I wish they could have waited. They could have waited on that.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PS4.
PlayStation, all right.
Yeah, PlayStation, man. I actually just came on PlayStation, man. I've been on it for a few months now. I play Red Dead 2. I play that online now, so find me on Twitch. You can find me on Twitch at WARKING _1992. No,
you remember that one?
1992. Yeah. I might say I know it's like the same, so I kind of get them mixed up.
I hear you.
You can find me on Twitch, but you can find me on Instagram. And then my Twitch profile or my Twitch website is actually on in my bio on my Instagram.
All right.
I don't have a YouTube channel yet, man. I'm working on getting all that. I got to get a laptop and stuff, and so I can upload my matches through there. Other than that, man, you can just find me on Facebook at LB Hughes.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to the fans before we cut it? What can they look out for you?
I love y'all, man. I appreciate all my fans or even new fans that's finna start watching me now. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate you for giving me this platform to speak on my wrestling career.
Man, of course.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad you're a fan. You know, I hope you continue to stay a fan.
We'll see.
You know what I mean, man? And hopefully you see me in bigger places. You can be like, man, I knew it.
I'm going to be the one guy in the credits like, I said he was going to be there.
Yeah. Where are you located at, man?
Brooklyn, New York. So MSG,
New York.
that if you ever make it to MSG, you know, I'll definitely be there for you.
Yeah, we can, you know, even in Brooklyn, man.
House of Glory Wrestling.
Center, you know?
Sign up. It's in Queens. Go for it. Amazing Red's an amazing trainer. You know, they got some high good talent in there.
Hey, is House of Glory in New York?
It is. It's in Queens.
In Queens. And that's Amazing Red, right?
Amazing Red, yeah.
Yeah, that's what, what's the name? Private Party.
That's where Private Party, yeah. Private Party was
that's
there,
where it came from. Yeah. I think Master P had bought that.
He did die recently. You know the information. Come through. We'll be happy to have you.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching the ARWP podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Follow us, like, comment, subscribe.
Wow, what an awesome episode. Thank you everyone who stuck around and watched it. If you want to support me in any way, please, all my information is in the bio below. Follow me on all accounts, Twitter, Instagram, all on there. If you want to support the podcast anyway, please like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for being awesome.